You can deny that what I'm saying is the truth. You know it's the truth. But either you won't write it, or you're too cowardly to speak it because you want some favor here or favor there. So because you can't talk, you are muzzled. I'm not. I'm a free black man. And I didn't come here looking for a handout. And I really don't think you need one. Your problem is that you think you need a handout. Everything you need is right under your foot, but you looking everywhere else for help instead of to yourself and what you can produce for yourself. This is Africa's dilemma. You are parading yourself before the world as international beggars when you gave civilization to the world. Your problem is not America. Your problem is not Israel. Your problem is not Britain. Your problem is your disunity and your dependence on others to do for you what you could do for yourself. So I don't have to come back here anymore to help you. The help is already here. The knowledge is already here. The land is here. The sun is here. The water is here. The minerals are here. You have some of the finest minds in the world, but they're in Europe and they're in America making money while Africa suffers. Why don't we create politically stable environment and call the children of Africa back home to help build Africa? We are your children. And we will come and help. But don't expect us to come with billions of dollars when we don't have it. We're struggling in America. But you got it all right here under your foot. And you should be ashamed not to look to yourself, begging white folk to give you what you could give yourself. What I said today, which one of these countries is going to give you $20 million? America's not going to give you $20 million. You got it right here, but your disunity won't allow you to pool it. It's your fault, and you got to accept that responsibility. That is why my message is atonement, reconciliation, and responsibility. We got to stop blaming everything on somebody else and see what is our responsibility.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching my videos from. Welcome back to my YouTube space. Today I'm talking about something so much that we need to know. Black Americans saw it coming. They warned. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching my videos from. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm talking something that is happening in Africa, and Africans are going through hardship because of something we didn't listen. We were warned, but we did not listen as Africans. Who warned us? Black Americans. They saw it coming. They warned about it. They called it out before it unfolded. They didn't need to be prophecies, but they simply knew how the book is played. They simply knew the game. They had lived under the way, the very system now that is affecting or ruining Africa or squeezing Africa. They understood how Western powers operate when it feels threatened, and they shouted to the continent, "Don't fall for it." But as Africans, we did not listen, and African leaders didn't listen. They aligned themselves with the Western powers, and now they are paying the price. Again, Africans too, who are in diaspora, they were warned not to be the allies, not to associate themselves because of the cheap power, but they didn't listen to it. This isn't about celebration. This isn't about, I told you, this is necessary to remember that we were warned by Black Americans. And whatever you are seeing is happening in the ground, in the mother continent, about the Western powers squeezing Africa, African leaders being deep into this debt and everything. A leader want to rise like Ibrahim Traore. They are trying to smash him down every day. These are the things that we were warned about it by our brothers and sisters from across the ocean. Now, before we go deep into this video, I want you to watch these clips. I've said let me talk about it because a lot of Black Americans have been calling out the atrocities that is happening from the white system and everything. Africa was not the exception. We could hear about it and we could stay vigilant because we are the price. We are paying the price right now. Let's watch these clips and then come back here with more commentary.
In Nigeria, which is, if not the most corrupt nation in Africa, and it is, It could be the most corrupt nation in the world, Minister Farrakhan.
Oh, now, Mr. Wallace.
It is the most corrupt nation that I have ever covered. I've been there 25 years ago, and I've been there as recently as last year.
Fine. So what? 35 years old. That's what that nation is. Now, here's America, 226 years old. You love democracy? But there in Africa, you're trying to force these people into a system of government that you just have accepted. 30 years ago, black folk got the right to vote. You're not in any moral position to tell anybody how corrupt they are. You should be quiet and let those of us who know our people go there and help them get out of that condition. But America should keep her mouth shut wherever there's a corrupt regime, as much hell as America has raised on the earth. No, I will not allow America, or you, Mr. Wallace, to condemn them as the most corrupt nation on earth when you have spilled the blood of human beings. Has Nigeria dropped an atomic bomb and killed people in Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Have they killed off millions of Native Americans? How dare you put yourself in that position as a moral judge? I think you should keep quiet, because with that much blood on America's hands, you have no right to speak. I will speak because I don't have that blood on my hand. Yes, there's corruption there. Yes, there's mismanagement of resources. Yes, there is abuse. There's abuse in every nation on earth, including this one. So let's not play holy to moralize on them. Let's help them.
I'm not moralizing. I'm asking a question, and I got an answer.
Why would you put it as the most corrupt regime in the world? That doesn't make sense.
Can you think of one more corrupt?
Yeah, I'm living in one. I'm living in one. Yes, you've done a hell of a thing on this earth, so you should not be the one to talk. You should be quiet when it comes to moral condemnation, in my judgment. Zimbabwe, Mugabe, he fought and won, but didn't take the land back from the Caucasians. And some of those who fought with him came to him and said, look, brother, we joined you in war. We fought, we won, but the land is still in the hands of those who came and stole it from us. You have to give the land back to us. Before he started giving the land back, he was the darling of white people. You are always their best friend as long as you're not a friend of your people. As long as you let them do what they want to do with us, you are all right, nigga.
Come on, teach, brothers. Teach. Make it plain.
But when Robert Mugabe said, we got to take the land back from the white farmers who had, thousands and thousands of acres of land, and black people had none.
Come on, man.
Then all of a sudden America and England turned down on Mugabe. Thabo Mbeki in South Africa now is reasoning with taking land and giving it back. I was in South Africa. When I got off the plane, there was a man in chains. He didn't say a word. He just was in chains. When I got to the hotel, there he was, wrapped in chains. What was he telling me? I don't care what they say, Farrakhan. We're still in chains. I met with President Mandela, a beautiful man. And then I had dinner with Winnie Mandela. And Winnie Mandela said to me, my former husband has promised the people houses. He's promised them electricity because white folk promised him. And then they didn't fulfill their promise, so he couldn't live up to his promise to the masses of South Africa. And right now you can go to South Africa. The gold is still in the hands of the whites. The diamonds are still in the hands of the whites. Everything of value is still in the hands of the whites. The power of military might is in the hands of the whites. The white world.
So
sooner we accept that political stability in Africa is bad business for organizations like UNHCR and UNICEF, the better. These organizations were literally closing down their offices in Southern Africa. Boom, the people of DRC start dying. The same Congolese who exposed the UN for stealing minerals and hoarding it in their offices. The same UN that was exposed by the Congolese people for causing instability in some parts of Congo are now dying. When we are killing each other and dying, they are going around the world begging for billions of dollars because we are dying. It's good business for them. As long as there's people donating to organizations like UNICEF and UNHCR, we always die as Africans. When we stop fighting, they don't make money. What assurance do we have that if these organizations actually are not funding wars in Africa? But what assurance do we have that UNICEF, the injections they are giving to our children, are actually safe? The same organizations that say that we are overpopulated as Africans. Africans, these organizations are not here for our own good.
One other thing that France did between 1958 and 1961 in the name of giving us our independence as African countries. France forced the Francophone, and I hate that terminology. There is no such thing as Francophone, Anglophone. They made it up. But for the purposes of communication, I will use that. 14 of those countries, they said, in order for you to get your independence from us, you must sign this document. You thought they could have found a better name for the document. The document was called the Pact for the Continuation. I repeat, the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization. We are talking about giving you independence, but sign this pact for the continuation of colonization in a different format.
Africa's most lethal enemy is not France or China or even USA and the entire West. Africa's most lethal enemy are Africa's elites, especially the ruling elites. Each African country has its elites, a small group of powerful people who hold disproportionate amount of wealth, privilege, and political power. You will rarely find them on TV screens or newspaper headlines, but they probably own those newspapers and TV stations. You will also rarely find them in parliament or in the cabinet, but they heavily influence, if not control, what goes on in the legislature, executive, and even judiciary. In this clip you're about to watch, you will see the power of elites at work.
What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? How many cases are before the courts of law? Justice. How many cases do you have? Now, do you expect me to go and set up a firing squad?
Kenya's immediate former president, Uhuru Kenyatta, was expressing his frustration and seeming helplessness in rooting out corruption. You can also see here how Sudan's elites have impoverished this great African nation. Even when the West, China, Russia, or any other foreign governments plunder Africa, they do so in partnership with the ruling elite. Africans must, however, remember that they are the lions. The elites are the hyenas seeking to reap where they haven't planted. It's time for the lion with the people to roar and recapture our crown.
Welcome back. Now, Black Americans have spent decades studying empire, and they have seen how exploitation disguises itself as aid. They have lived through programs designed to look like progress but build to oppress. For example, the programs that are coming in Africa, trying to saying they're bringing aid, they're helping in medicine, they're helping in military, but no, those programs are here to make sure that the continent does not go forward. Black Americans knew how foreign powers operate, and they warned Africa about the military bases. They warned Africa about the trade deals, the so-called development partnership. They said if it's come easy, there's a hook in it. Nothing comes easy from the white system. Nothing comes easy. They always have something in it. It's like an eagle. When you see an eagle coming down, It's not that it's going low to you. No, it's because it has seen a prey. They are down. So it's coming to pick it. You need to stay vigilant. Black Americans understood that soft power is just the first step before hard consequences. And still, African leaderships chose to smile for the cameras, shake hands, go to the meetings, having these luxury sleeps and luxury meals, and sign deals here and there. Deals that came with invisible chains. When you talk about the deals, we talk about someone like William Ruto shaking hands with the white. He shook hands with America, shaking hands with China. And now, at some point, maybe, not that I'm guaranteed, but maybe Kenya will find itself in a deep hole. In a deep hole that we can't remove ourselves because of what our leader is doing, joining hands with all these white leaders. And it's very dangerous, very, very dangerous. Africa invited Western powers into its political and economic bloodstream. Whenever we want to do something in our parliament, they have hands in it. They accepted loans, like a lot of African countries accepted loans. For example, Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria. We are into deep hole of these loans from IMF, World Bank. They allowed military training and so-called security assistance. Military bases, it's in Kenya, a lot of military bases, it is in Kenya, but we ain't gaining something from that. We don't have that threat in Kenya that we are allowing the military base to come and have their base here in Kenya. Africans, we have opened doors to NGOs that report back to foreign intelligence. NGOs, I think, is it that one that was closed? We have a lot of NGOs here. But these NGOs, they are reporting back to the CIA, intelligence. They are reporting back to the, not CIA, this is FBI, this foreign intelligence, let's call it. And Black Americans said it. They are not building you up. They are building leverage over you. Those are the words of Black Americans. I have come across a lot of Black Americans activists talking about these things, starting from Malcolm X, Louis Farrakhan. They are talking about what's going on. But the African elite were too eager for global approval. Everyone wants to have a seat with the Western power. Everyone wants to have a seat at the Vatican City. Everyone wants to have a seat at the Lancaster. Everyone wants to have a seat somewhere in Washington, D.C. Everyone wants to have a seat somewhere in Brussels from Africa. And African leaders always think that foreign investment meant partnership. They believed infrastructure projects meant progress. They failed to ask who is really in control of this. Where is the money comes? Which are the conditions? Just signing papers without reading each and every details. And that's what we are doing. And when the harshness start hitting us, that's where we remember. Now, right now we are seeing it. Western nations are pulling the strings. They are punishing governments. They are dictating who gets to stay in power. And that's why a leader like Traoré coming out and trying to push the button again, they want him out. Suddenly, Africa is shocked. No, we are not supposed to be shocked. We were told about it. Now, during the Ukraine war, Africa chose neutrality. During the genocide in Gaza, most African nations stayed silent. And Africa thought that silence would keep them safe, that staying out of the way would preserve their sovereignty. But Black Americans understood the game. Black Americans have been playing this card for so long. There is no such thing as neutrality when the empire feels threatened. Ibrahim Traoré is not staying in a neutral way. He has showed openly that he is supporting Russia. A country like Kenya with William Ruto, they are trying to play the card of neutrality, jumping from this leader to this leader. They don't have stability. That is not good. It's either you go one or you go two. Now, Black Americans warned us, if we don't stand up, they will still come for you, because silence isn't safety. It's surrender. And a continent like Africa to surrender, that's a very, very big mistake. Now, African leaders are learning right now, and they are learning it the hard way, but it is too late. That's not choosing a side doesn't stop the West from choosing targets. They are realizing that economic independence never come with those aid packages. When USA denied South Africa or denied Africa the aid of medication, maybe is called these ARVs. Now African leaders started realizing, okay, we need to wake up, we need to do this, we need to do this. That's where they realize it's not easy, because we depend so much on aids rather than trying to find solutions. When the aids is out, that's where we open our eyes. This military cooperation we are seeing come with surveillance. This military we are seeing here is not here to help us. The partnership it means that we will continue to depend on you for so long. Now, the tears are flowing from the continent. Africans are crying. Those Africans in diasporas who have allies with the white power, they are crying. They're crying about sanctions. Continent is crying about military interference. We are crying about election meddling, destabilization, and economic sabotage. We are seeing it left, right, center. For us Africans to raise our head, we need to go out of Africa. We need to go somewhere in France, in USA, go and work hard for long hours so that we can get something we need. But where was this outrage when the warnings came? Back then, when Black Americans were warning us, where was this outrage? When Black Americans told us that this system doesn't do charity, we didn't listen for that. Where was the pushback when African thinkers and activists echoed the same message? PLO Lumumba talking every day about the same message. Patrice Lumumba talk about, Muammar Gaddafi talked about this. Even Mugabe has been saying this. Thomas Sankara echoed the same message. Pan-Africanists echoed the same message. But African leaders and African generals thought that aligning ourselves with the white power was a win game. You know? Many African leaders have been mocking the diaspora. Many African people have been mocking the diaspora. And they dismissed the struggle of Black Americans as distant or irrelevant. They say that their fight is not ours. Even when Africans goes in diaspora, they distance themselves from Black Americans, staying low, keeping their head down, having these allies with the whites, you know. But now the same leaders who mocked the diaspora, the same people who mocked Black Americans are the ones who are looking for solidarity right now. I think most of them, they just don't come out and say it loud, but they want the diaspora to speak up. That's why they are opening doors again for diaspora to come. But solidarity always requires honesty. I will tell you, I am African, I'm from Kenya, but I accept the mistake, and I will tell our leaders, our African leaders and African people who have been mocking Black Americans, I will tell you plain white, that solidarity requires honesty. It means admitting, you know, we were warned and we ignore it. We need to admit. Black Americans didn't just wake up one day knowing this. They learned it through pain, through surveillance, in frustration, imprisonment, slavery, surveillance, and poverty. You know, Black Americans watched leaders like Malcolm X, Fidel Hampton, and Dr. King get taken down for resisting the same system Africa is trusting. Black Americans understood that white supremacy doesn't change. It just changes uniforms from white to black to blue, red, yellow. You know, and when they spoke out, it wasn't to condemn Africa. Yes, it was to prevent Africa from repeating the mistakes, from repeating the same tragedy. But Black Americans' warnings were labeled divisive. Now, the very leaders who turned away, we are here now crying. We don't know what to do. Ibrahim Traore have shown us the way, but we don't know. We are afraid to choose that way. We are afraid to follow the Traore steps because we are afraid of being taken down. If we could follow the warning back then, right now, it was easy for Africa to unite. Easy to say that I am joining Traore. It will be so easy. You know? Right now is not time for pride. It is time for truth. African nations must admit that they aligned with power, not principles. African leaders must admit they chose visibility over sovereignty. Now, they must choose differently. This is a moment to return to the people, to build with those who have always wanted liberation, more not exploitation. It is time to join hands with the Black Americans. It is time to have the unity. It is time to join hands with the leaders who are looking at the future. Black Americans saw this coming, not because they were prophets, but because they have lived under the clouds for so long. You know? So listen to those who survived the system. Let's start listening. Listen to those who studied it. I see Black America, some of Africans saying they don't want to associate themselves with Black Americans. We need to listen to them because they know the game. It is not shame to be on the same lane with Black Americans. It is shame to be on the same lane with the oppressor, thinking that we will be the same someday. No, we can't be the same. We can't. They won't allow it. So tell me what you think about this topic on the comment section. Because if we don't listen, if we keep on ignoring, the next phase will even be more worse. They will kill all our leaders who want change and sovereignty. Subscribe to more Pan-African commemorative history and the truth about Black people. It is time to connect the dots. It is time to connect Black Americans, Caribbeans, and Africans. Unity is all we need. Until next episode, peace out.